Goldine, hey everyone, it's Eric and it's time for the Icelandic thing of the day. I will try not to lean back so much so that that bright light takes over the entire video. Um, so today let's talk about names in Icelandic. Um, in America, where I'm from, we're pretty liberal about names. You can name your kid anything you want. You can name your kid Dweezil or Moon Unit or Jim, um, and that's all fine. And uh, and since we don't have cases in English for the most part, except for the genitive, um, that doesn't pose any linguistic difficulties. Um, no matter where Moon Unit's name fits into the sentence. It will look the same, except for, as I just said, if you'll notice, the genitive when it will be moon units instead of moon unit. Um, in English, not a real issue. But in Iceland, both for reasons of linguistic conservatism and due to linguistic need, due to the case system in Icelandic, Iceland has a list of approved names. You have to name children off of that approved name list. There's actually been a couple of things that have gone at least a little viral on the internet about people challenging that and trying to take up names that have heretofore not been recognized in Icelandic. And so there's this conservative pull towards making sure that all of the names are traditional, real Icelandic names, and also to liberalize that and to allow more names to be put into the language. Um, so as I've mentioned in other videos, Icelandic has its four cases: the nominative, accusative, dative, and the genitive, or as they are referred to in Icelandic, nefnfatal. It's got that F in. It's voiceless. I don't know. Nefnfatal, þolfatal, thagufatal, and ignarfatal. That's in order. The good news is that most names decline just like nouns. Either strong or weak nouns, masculine or feminine, based on the typical gender of the name. As with many of these issues with gender-marked languages, I'm really not sure how they are thinking to approach gender issues linguistically. Particularly for people who, identify themselves as outside of a gender binary. I don't know how the language is accommodating that. I'm not sure how much that issue has been brought up in Iceland, but it's something that I think is kind of interesting and we'll want to keep tabs on as that sort of thing develops. For instance, let's take my name, Eric. In English, in Icelandic, there are two names that can correspond to that. One is Eiríkur. Eiríkur. It's a U-R. Which is the full name, which declines as a strong noun. So that's Eiríkur, Eric, Eriki, and Eriks. And the name that I've actually been using in the class, because there's another Eric in the class, Eiki. Which is a weak masculine noun, Eiki, Eka, Eka, Eka. The difference between strong and weak being that all of the cases are marked with distinctive markers. In a strong noun and in a weak noun, everything except for the nominative has the same marker, A. Similarly, you can take a name like for a typically female name, such as Anna, Anna, and that is a weak feminine noun. So Anna, Anu, Anu, Anu. I should be pre-aspirating before the double N, but that's That's hard. There are, however, so names tend to be, as I've said, for a couple of reasons, names tend to be conservative. And there's some names that have retained highly unusual declensions that most names don't have and almost no nouns have. In particular, we have some U-stem names, which I'm not going to go into because it's kind of linguistic minutia. But for example, one that we've been reading about is the name Throster. That's Thorn, R, O umlaut, STUR in the nominative. Which declines, you would look at that and you would say, oh, it declines like a strong noun, so it would be throster, throst, throsty, throsts. Nope, sorry. It is instead throster, throst. That's pretty much what you would expect. And then thresty, so the O umlaut changes to an E. And then thrastar, the O umlaut changes to an A, and instead of having the typical genitive marker of S, it has AR. And there are a number of different, there are a number of names that work like this, or have other sorts of unusual vowel changes mostly in the names. So, in English, typically when you learn someone's name, you know everything you need to know about it because the name is the same in all positions in the sentence, except for the genitive, where it has the apostrophe S, and that's just how names work in English. In Icelandic, there are in fact 4 different forms of a person's name, most of which work like most nouns, and so you don't have a real problem with it, but there are these pesky bastards that you just have to learn the rules for and learn how they work. So that's a bit about Icelandic names. I'll be back tomorrow with more Icelandic trivia. So I'll see you then. Sjáumst.